Welcome to the presentation on Business Analytics, Data to Decisions. The cast is designed and produced by Jitendra Tomar, an academician and consultant, and is prepared at JT Design Studio. Let us delve deep into the concept.
It wasn't that long ago that big business decisions were made on gut feelings, maybe a little bit of experience. Well, not anymore. Today, it is all about data. We're going to dive into how companies are taking these just mountains of raw information and turning them into a real, crystal clear competitive advantage.
So, that brings up a huge question, right? How does a modern business actually see the future? I mean, do they have a crystal ball, some kind of lucky charm? Nope, not even close. The secret, as we're about to find out, is hiding in plain sight, right inside their data. But hang on. This all begs the question, why is this happening now? Why has analytics suddenly become one of the biggest buzzwords in the entire business world? Well, it turns out we're living right in the middle of a perfect storm that made all of this possible. This whole analytics boom is really being fueled by three massive forces that all came together at the same time. First, just the explosion of data. Every single time you click, you buy, you browse, you're creating data. Second, we finally have computers powerful enough to actually sift through that digital mountain of information. And last but not least, the competition is just fierce. Businesses get it now. If you're not using data to make smarter decisions, you are already falling behind.
Okay, so to really get a handle on how this works, we need to break it down to the two core ingredients in any analytics recipe. We're talking about the data itself and then the models that we use to make sense of it all. So first up, let's talk about data. Put simply, it's just the raw material. All the numbers, all the facts, all the figures. By itself, it's pretty much just noise. The real magic happens in how you interpret it. All right, so if data is the raw ingredient, then models are the recipes. They're basically mathematical frameworks that take all that raw data and cook it into something useful, helping us find patterns, predict what's next, and figure out the absolute best course of action. And, this data really comes in two main flavors. On one side, you've got your structured data. This stuff is nice and tidy. Think of a perfectly organized spreadsheet. But then you have unstructured data. This is the messy, chaotic, but incredibly valuable world of emails, social media posts, even videos. And the real power of analytics today is being able to make sense of both. Okay, this is where things get really, really interesting. You see, analytics isn't just one single thing. It's more like a journey through three distinct levels, where each step gets us a little bit closer to actually seeing the future. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures what that journey is all about. We are literally moving from just having hindsight, understanding what's already happened, to gaining true foresight, which is the ability to actually influence what happens next. So let's start at level 1, which I think is best described as looking in the rearview mirror. This is what we call descriptive analytics. It is all about looking back to see where you've been. Descriptive analytics really just boils down to answering one simple question. What happened? This is the foundation of everything. It's where you summarize past data into reports and dashboards just to get a clear picture of how your business has been performing. It's about getting your basic facts straight. All right, let's move on up to our next level and see how this all builds. This is predictive analytics, and a fantastic way to think about it is like a weather forecast. We're using what happened in the past to make a really educated guess about what's coming. See, now the question gets a lot more interesting. What might happen? This is where companies start to get a serious competitive edge by forecasting future sales, spotting risks way before they become big problems, and really understanding their customers on a much deeper level. And that brings us to the very top, the most advanced level, prescriptive analytics. So if predictive analytics is the weather forecast, then prescriptive is kind of like your car's GPS. It doesn't just tell you there's traffic ahead, it tells you the absolute best route to take to avoid it. This right here is the ultimate goal. It answers the most critical question of all. Okay, so what should we do about it? Think about the movie recommendations you get from Netflix, or the products that Amazon suggests you buy. That is prescriptive analytics in action, guiding decisions to get the best possible outcome. Okay, so we've got the theory down, but how do companies actually put all of this into practice? Let's walk through the playbook that they pretty much all follow. It's a surprisingly straightforward four-step process. It always starts with collection, just gathering up all the relevant data you can find. Then comes preparation, which is honestly the unsung hero of analytics. This is where all that messy data gets cleaned up and ready for action. Next up is model building, where the actual analysis and testing happens. And finally, deployment, which is where the model goes live and starts delivering real-world value, all while being carefully, constantly monitored.
So, we've seen how we get from just a pile of raw data to making really smart decisions. But believe me, the journey does not stop here. So, what's the next frontier for analytics?
The future is really being shaped by three huge trends. First, we're going to see a lot more artificial intelligence doing the heavy lifting of analysis for us. We're also seeing a huge shift to real-time analytics, where decisions are made in the blink of an eye based on live data. And maybe most importantly, as all this power grows, the conversation around data ethics and privacy isn't just important, it's absolutely essential. And, all of this, it leads us to the most important question of all. We are building these incredibly powerful tools to understand our world. And as this power continues to grow, the real challenge isn't going to be about the technology. It's going to be about us. How do we make sure that we use it all wisely?